Cause when that trumpet sound, boy, you don't wanna miss out. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in with the Lord or you out with the Lord. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in or you out, ain't no straddling the fence. Either in with the Lord or you out.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Visit Shalom.
Visit Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Hebrew.
What you got going on here, bro?
Man, another day that the Most High has created up.
Yes,
just enjoying this Shabbat, fellowshipping with the brews. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, man, all praises to the Most High, Yahuwah's only begotten Son, Yahushua. Welcome everybody coming into the stream. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, man, all praises. Got a little feedback going on. We're getting it together. But shalom to the 12 tribes worldwide. All praises to the Most High. Happy Shabbat for those keeping the Shabbat today. Getting into the lessons, praising, worshiping, just dedicating our time to the Most High. All he wants is a tenth, right? He said, "Don't all men should come 3 times a year, not empty-handed. We should bring a tenth unto Yahuwah." That show us how we should allot our time with the Most High. We got all these transactions and business things and things that we do for ourselves all week, and ultimately all the Most High want is a tenth of your time, tenth of your dedication. So that's what we're gonna do. So hopefully everybody is gathering, or whether in home, if you got a assembly, if you got even if it's online, even if y'all here with us online or somewhere else online, just I encourage everybody to do what them scripts say and gather. Put y'all differences aside when y'all doing it, because it ain't about us. It's about the time for the Most High. Put your differences aside when you gather. That's why we do got to continue to do this, continue to get into these scriptures, continue to just build our inward man, because we be focused on the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is the focus. He's the focal point. We be focused on other stuff. Put that stuff to the side and then incorporate all the scriptures when y'all come together. Confess your faults one to another. That's the part where, when we gathering, everything in decency and order. We gathering, business is handled. Hey, I gotta holler at you after this, man. I'm dealing with something. That's your time. Hey, look, I trust this brother right here. I think he got something for me. If not, he probably say, hey, you know what? Such and such would be good to holler at about that. And that's how you can move in a trustworthy environment. Whatever I share with this brother, between me and this brother. And, we got to guard each other's feelings and each other's, character. We got to guard each other's character as Ox and Akoti. So that's my little spiel. What you got going on, Hebrew?
Man, we here another Shabbat. We got the boys this weekend. We got Trey Jizzle and got Levi, aka Caleb.
Hallelujah.
In the building. Say shalom, children. Now week. Anywho, we got 2 current events. One is local, and one is on on the far east in the so-called land of Jerusalem. This is just a small, the ongoing issue with the violence in the city. Young man ain't even started his summer break. Only been out of summer break maybe a day, and it was gone the next day due to these pistols, these gun violence. So see the little clip. Our children, make sure y'all pay attention to this.
The last 15 minutes, we just learned the 16-year-old who was killed in a shooting on the northwest side of Indianapolis was a student at North Central High School. 16-year-old Jamel Williams died in that shooting. This happened around 8 Sunday night near 46th and Moeller Road. Police have not released any information about a possible suspect or an arrest in this case. Counseling support will be available at North Central High School in the main office Thursday and Friday.
So I'm guessing at this point, they were still in school, so their summer break didn't even start yet. So he didn't even finish out.
Using ChatGPT and Claude are leaving 80% of the value on the table. Here's how the top 1% of the users actually prompt. First, go into your Claude settings.
Okay, next one we're gonna go ahead and get into is this third temple. Get into this third temple talk with Donald Trump, aka Donald Trump, and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, the Khazar. Let's see what they got going on over here.
Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord.
Trump's choice of reading this passage was no coincidence. He knows he is supposed to help build the third temple.
We will all see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem very soon. We all have great gratitude to this person. This is a person that doesn't care only for himself, but cares for the entire world, and especially for the people in Israel and for the Jews in America.
See, it's okay to talk about.
As President of the United States, I will always support Jewish Americans, and I will always be a friend and a champion to the Jewish people. I have been.
What if I told you that Donald Trump, the current US president, has been linked by Jewish rabbis and pastors to one of the most important prophecies in history, the rebuilding of the third Jewish temple in Jerusalem? Some religious leaders openly claim Trump's action in Israel, like moving the US embassy to Jerusalem, are not just politics.
Wow, look at this.
94%
of people believe company culture is important to an organization's
They didn't buffer it out.
They won't let you get that off.
Yeah.
They are steps toward rebuilding the third Jewish temples in Jerusalem.
Yes. He, I believe, is the Mashiach of Edom.
Esau from persecuting the Jews to Esau who is serving the Jews is Donald Trump.
Yes, that's right. In 2016, Donald Trump campaigns on America First, following to cut foreign aid and questioning long-standing alliances. He even criticized AIPAC, the most powerful pro-Israel lobby, leaving many convinced he would not be a friend of Israel. But then came Sheldon and Miriam Sadelson. Their nearly $90 million in donation during the 2016 cycle gave Trump not just financial backing, but a direct lines into the pro-Israel world. Miriam, deeply committed to Israel cause, became a key voice urging Trump toward bold move. With their support, his posture shifted dramatically. Beyond campaign politics, Sadelson also became major donors to the City of David project in Jerusalem, funding excavation and tunnels believed to trace the ancient pathway to the second Jewish temple. For many, this effort is seen as the groundwork for a future third temple. That is why when Trump became the US president, the very first demand from his strongest supporter was clear: move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
Thank you, President Trump, for having the courage to keep your promises.
For decades, past president had promised but never acted. Trump broke that pattern. In May 2018, he officially recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
Today, we officially opened the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. Congratulations.
And made America the first nation to relocate its embassy there, a move celebrated by many as historic and prophetic. For many evangelical Christians and even some Orthodox Jews, Trump's 2018 decision to move the US embassy to Jerusalem wasn't just politics. They saw it as prophecy fulfilled, a step straight out of scripture pointing to Jerusalem restoration and the coming of the Messiah. But have you ever wondered why Israel chose Jerusalem as its capital? Search online, you will find countless explanations. Yet, simple truth is this.
All right, that's enough of that.
Jerusalem holds the Temple Mount, the very heart of Jewish faith and identity. For Jews, it is the whole.
I sent another one on top of that. It's just when you played there, it made me think of something.
This link.
Yeah, can you pull that up? That's about the Simpsons. You know how they say the Simpsons be predicting everything. And it's not just the Simpsons, but just media in general.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, this was pulled up. It's supposed to be a video.
No, it's just it should just be like that. So let me see if I read that. I looked up because everybody be talking about the Simpsons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, did the Simpsons show the third temple ever? And they said no. The Simpsons have never featured the construction or literal appearance of the third temple in Jerusalem. The show has tackled the subject of religion in Israel, most notably in season 21, episode 16, the greatest story ever, Dohed. In this episode, Homer and his family travel to Jerusalem, where Homer is diagnosed with Jerusalem syndrome. He becomes convinced he is the Messiah and winds up wandering into the Dome of the Rock to preach unity under a new made-up religion. The episode prominently features the existing holy sites, but does not depict a newly built temple. And then it just goes on. But can you Google something? Revelation, just the word revelation of method. Revelation of method. Here, I could just send it to you on there if that's easier. All right. So this is what, jumped up in my mind when you showed that, because we talked about it before, but I didn't know the word for it really at the time. This is what the elites do. They call them the elite secret societies, whatever you want to call them, right? But if you ever heard of Kabbalah, like this is the Jewish mysticism religion. So like you got esoteric knowledge, which is hidden knowledge, Then you got exoteric knowledge. This is the way they think, right? I ain't saying right or wrong. I'm just telling you this is how they think. The exoteric is just like exo, exit, right? You go out. So anything outside of self, right? Anything outside of what they want you to know, or anything that they will give you, because they'll put this outside of they'll put this out. But the esoteric, that's for them to keep within. That's the secret knowledge that they're gonna keep within. So this is the Kabbalistic teachings. And so for the exoteric, the whole goal is to really give you enough exoteric that you fall into the system and you start doing everything they put out. But secretly, it's to fuel their spiritual demons or their spiritual warcraft. So that's the esoteric. That's what they're not going to tell you. You know, just like you go to work and you know, just like you go to work or you go to school, whatever, you know, whatever you're into, and you may ask the teacher, hey, you know, Mr. Smith, what's behind what's in the office in the other room that we'll never go? Oh, that ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? That ain't for you. What's for you is right here at this door, the gymnasium, the locker room. You don't go past the locker room. That's for us. Yeah. You know, same thing at your job or in the courthouse, right?
Almost remind you of Matilda, old school Matilda movie.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
The white girl that had little magic powers in her hands, whatever. The principal.
Yeah, she was some magical stuff.
Yeah, she could thank it in that happen. Close the door. She focused on it.
Okay.
She closed the door where mine closed the door. Yeah.
Whatever her magic was.
Yeah.
But everybody ain't know it.
No.
Yeah.
She was like the black sheep of her family. Like her daddy was a janky used car salesman. And would roll the numbers back on cars on the transmission or whatever.
A little cheapskate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mama looked like some little sedity woman. Trashy, but they try to make it look classy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the brother was like a little hellion, did whatever daddy did. But she was like the black sheep. But yeah, you shouldn't have.
I probably because I know that name Matilda.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did it pull up?
Yeah.
So the revelation of method, right? So this is why we've been expressing it to folks without having the word for it, but here's the actual word. Revelation of method is a conspiratorial concept suggesting that secret elites, shadowy organizations, or powerful figures deliberately reveal their hidden plans, right? But just check it out how they try to say conspiracy. And this is where free thinking come in. Somebody could say, oh, that's a conspiracy. Like let's say the dude that just got murdered was on Far East Side.
No, 46 Smoller.
Right.
We're in Colonial Square Apartments.
Okay.
So between 46 and Pike Plaza.
So he was probably a Pike student.
Nah, he went to North Central.
Oh,
He was in a Pike Township apartment.
Okay. So like just like that's a fact, right? But somebody would be like, you know, Tupac ain't dead, or you know, conspiracy, but like you got the autopsies, you got the, you know, we got the facts. Like you could put that together. You could go with the conspiracy if you want, but like in real life, like yeah, he dead. You know what I'm saying? Or you could say, oh, little dude, you know, whatever happened. You can have your own story, but there's a truth behind it, right? And even if the news don't come out with it, you know, somebody there know what happened.
Yeah.
So they can speak that truth, and some, you know, it's up to the public perception, but they know that truth. That's where critical thinking come in, to where they saying it's a conspiracy, but then when we look in the scriptures, we see that that was prophesied. Conspiracies are in the Bible. Well, we want to see that at probably Psalms 83. Psalms 83 at verse 1 and 2. We're going to go down a little bit. But this is why the scriptures is real and the living word, because it's something that you can chew the cud on. That's why our dietary laws show us what animals to eat, and because it say you are what you eat. So what does that mean? You take on the characteristics of what you ingest. So if I'm around Lil Boosie all day, I'm gonna take on Lil Boosie traits because that's what I'm ingesting. If I'm eating farm-fed beef, then I'm gonna take on the protein from the farm-fed beef. If I'm eating shrimp and bottom feeders, I'm gonna take on the parasites from the bottom feeders. So that's where the concept you are what you eat, right? You are what you take in. That's why the Messiah would be like, hey, be careful who you listen to and who give you doctrine. Doctrine is what you take in. He said it's not what goes in a man that defiles him, but it's what comes out of him. So, you know, all of these things, right? We're just talking the concepts of these things, but all of these things play a factor because we can use critical thinking and just common sense and see, hey, look, they might say it's a conspiracy, but when we look at the revelation of method, them having to reveal their plan before it happens, we can show time and time again that these things is put right in our face. Here we at Psalms 83 and 1. And it say, keep not thou silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right? What's crafty counsel? Conspiracy. So they sat there and they conspired. They have made a tumult.
Biblical example, who conspired in the script?
Somebody who conspired. We could see Herod's wife conspired against Yehukanan, didn't she?
Yeah, for her birthday.
Uh-huh.
We got that. We got Judas when he went to the Romans to get Messiah taken up out of here. We had the elders in the book of Susanna.
Mm-hmm.
They conspired to come up with a lie and say that she tried to force her way onto them while she was in the garden getting cleaned up. So this is the hidden counsel, the craftiness that goes on behind closed doors that we don't see. This is why Yahuwah don't want us in no sororities, them Mason lodges, them not for us. They're not for the children of Israel, because they do things that you ain't supposed to be doing. Hence why they say we're gonna cut your tongue out if you reveal these secrets. The Freemasons, and they don't literally mean cut your tongue out, take you up out of here.
We're gonna silence you.
Yeah, it's like street code.
Yeah.
Blood in, blood out. So this is the crafty counsel that I was talking about.
Con. So they took crafty counsel. They conspired. It says, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And you know, that's also in the revelation of method in all the movies, right? It's always a chosen. Remember the golden child? You know, so yeah, it's a little Chinese boy, but the revelation of method is there's really a golden child or a golden people. There's a hidden people. You see what I'm saying? So all these movies, all this entertainment, everything got a script to it. They're using this method. Now we into the AI era, and everybody's like, man, I could see this thing getting out of hand. They already told you what's gonna happen. You look at Terminator. Remember, it was Skynet got on track on Terminator. The whole movie about the AI taking over, the whole saga. Skynet got on track, and then it became sentient, meaning thinking for itself and its own entity. And then basically they had to time travel, and it's all kind of storyline plot, right? But they showing you this was in the 80s. Terminator came out what, 89, 88, maybe the early 90s.
Each year it progressed.
Each year it progressed.
Each year it progressed.
So it's like, that's why, and they do this to kind of numb you to it, right? Just like they'll show all this violence on TV, especially on our programs. We got Power, we got Empire, we got, if you look at it's all this deception, all this corruption, all this killing, and then they just like, man, you didn't kill 5 people in this season. Then, the news come on, all these murder, you're desensitized to it because it's always playing. But in reality, that's not normal. In reality, none of this stuff is normal. So that's the whole purpose of it. The vaccination is, if I could put it in you before you come, if I could put the lie on you before you come in contact with the truth, you ain't gonna be a threat because you already then took in the lie. You're gonna go with the lie before the truth. So that's the whole thing. So it's like, finishing out verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. The revelation and method of that is, now we all Negroes and African Americans and Black power, but you ain't never hear until recently or until this truth started coming out that we the Israelites of the Bible. So, that's where the common sense come in. We can line ourselves up. You can look in the book and say, hey, the Christians taught me I was a Gentile, and I'm going to just roll with that. Or I can look at the book and say, hey, look, it look like I line up more with this, and this in the book than what the church told me, what Islam told me. So that's all, I want to bring out on that, was that there is actually an agenda that they put before you, that if you don't take it upon yourself to have some faith and dig, then you're gonna be on the other side. You're gonna be taking in whatever they give you, the exoteric. And that kind of go into the topic today. So today, what we basically talking about is knowing your value in the fold, knowing what your value is in the fold. And when we say the fold, we look at it like a flock of sheep, right? We are sheep in this herd of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah being the shepherd, we follow him. He said, my sheep hear my voice. They know my voice, and he know them by name. So if we are his, then we have to have a certain DNA connection. We have to have a certain, your children know your voice. Your animals, your beasts, they know your voice, and they won't listen to another voice the same way they're going to listen to you. So that's how we got to be with Yahuwah. And it's kind of hard to do that sometimes if you don't know where you fit in with Yahuwah. So that's why you probably see us a lot more lately, like we tagging in with these children, having real sit down conversations, because y'all need to be built up and educated on who you are and your value and your worth. And all the images that they put out is degrading images, booty shaking on the TV for the women, just low life activity for the dudes, everything about some money. Don't matter how I had to get it, but you see these bands though, so they putting the value of materialistic over the value of what you call it, ethical values, and that's a direct violation to the Torah. So we gotta figure out what is your worth and how is you valued. I'm gonna just start here.
What's the title of the lesson, boys? Knowing your value. Value. Hand out the shirt.
Yes, knowing your value.
Pay attention, because remember we was talking the other day, there's time before we were talking, I said that there's one body but many members. So everybody's not going to have the same job title in that body, right? Look now, there's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of pastors or mores, but everybody can't do them certain things. I can't rap. I say I can, but I can't. Right? So this is how you will know your worth and your value by connecting yourself to Yahuwah, so you can find what your purpose is in this one body. What member will you play that you're gonna be playing a part of?
So can I share the screen up? I got it.
I gotta send you the link.
Okay, you can send it on the email or on the messenger, whatever.
Email.
Okay, and then maybe I could just roll off of this screen.
Yeah.
So we'll get into this value. What is value? What does value look like to the Most High? Because as we spoke on, we in two different mindsets, right? We got this mindset of Babylon, America, where we at. Then we got the mindset of the Most High, which is what we want to be connected with. So Babylon gonna tell you that your value is carnal, and then it's up to you to decide, is that really what my value is? Yes, sir. I'm gonna join.
Stop shooting this.
Join. I don't really need any of this, I don't think. Boom. And
I'm gonna play that comic book.
Okay. And I'm gonna share here. I want to share. One second. Like you said, you could do all that, and then when it come down to the nitty gritty, then it won't start acting funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming. No, not this. I'll just do it like this. Share my screen. I think y'all can see that.
Remember hit that share button.
Yeah, it should be on there. It's not on there. Okay, there we go. All right, so y'all should be able to see my whole screen, right? I'm gonna pull it up so they can see the Hebraic characters. It's really what I'm trying to show is it'll show us what value is in the Hebrew. But right here. Right here, and then we is The lesson of today. There you go. It's just lagging a little bit. All right, so is it big enough up?
Blow it up some. I can see it on mine. Well, I can see it on mine if I blow it up. Can y'all see that good? Huh? Right.
All right, trying to make it a little bigger. All right, so I'm gonna just go up. It's lagging.
You on the internet, right?
Yeah.
You have to get a little modify.
All right, so we see here knowing your value in the fold, right? And now this word value is coming from, they pronounce it an erek. And this is the Hebrew characters right here. So we got the ayin, the resh, and the kaf, arek, and it means value, worth, or valuation. Right, value, worth, or valuation. I haven't really looked at all of the deep breakdowns of the word, but just from knowing what these symbols mean, this first one on the far right would be the ayin. So it is literally in ancient, it would be the eyeball. It will represent the eyeball. This one right here look like a backwards Y. That's the ayin. Well, it might be that's how a Y look, ain't it? That's how you write a Y. Yeah. So it looked like a Y kind of, but that's actually an ayin, and it represents the eyeball. So this is the modern, but in the ancient, it would literally be like how you would draw a cartoon eyeball. The next one is a resh, which means like chief or head, and the last one is a kaf, final kaf, which is like a rock or a closed hand. So, you know, just from what I can see, it's kind of like the eyeball observation, the head or the chief. Usually the priest is the one valuing it, and something to do with the, you know, it could be a rock or something to do with the closed hand. So, you know, we could kind of see some of the word coming in the form right there. Something to do with observance, right? Observance and judging to see what the value is. So introduction, modern Babylon measures value through this right here. Modern Babylon, or the modern day system. When we say Babylon, we're talking about this Babylonian system. And Babylon was the first real like civilization like that, right? When we open up the Bible, we start off at the Garden of Eden, then we move into Babylon. That's what it is, right? So like Babylon, Mesopotamia, first real like civilizations like that. And they went against Yahuwah ultimately. They started off all one tongue, started off all one language, knowing the same stuff, and then end up going against Yahuwah, and now it's confusion. So it became
with Tower, we talked about that. They changed their language that they was working on. They changed their language. Huh? Babylon. It was in Babylon, but what was the name of the tower? Or who was the ruler over Babylon at that time?
In Genesis, he was a mighty hunter against.
Talk about him all the time. Moses? No.
This isn't a righteous person.
Yeah, he's a rebellion. He bad business. Oh.
He the first Trump.
For real.
Yeah, we talking about Nimrod.
Nimrod, the Tower of Babel. All right.
We gotta get there. Yup. So and that's a good point though, because honestly, he the first Antichrist.
Yeah.
You know, he's the
well, you can say first Antichrist of the new world after the flood.
Yeah.
Post flood.
He like the prototype of like, he like the prototype Antichrist, because like all of these religions, this his system. It's still rolling.
Mm-hmm.
This confusion been spiraling since then. He had a dumb idea and it's still going. And this is what so that's ancient Babylon, right? And it's the same system, just in a modern form. So modern Babylon measures value through this: money, status, appearance, popularity, influence, worldly success, right? I mean, that's all you look at scrolling.
Everybody want to be the content creator.
Mm-hmm.
The content that they pushing out has nothing to do with bringing life into any type of situation.
Nothing.
Mukbangs.
They dress it up with a pretty word.
Yeah. Mukbang. Like, nah, you can't do this, because now you see the people start doing the mukbangs, how they started and how they ended up. They didn't gain 100, 200 pounds.
Yeah. Was it worth it?
It's not worth it. Now you're not even honoring keeping your temple right.
Mm-hmm. And then they be mukbanging the abominations.
Yeah.
So you doing gluttony on something that you weren't supposed to eat in the first place.
Yeah. Now you dying because you got too much
iodine poison.
Yeah. Like, come on, man.
So these are just things that we gotta remember when we talk about our value. It says, but scripture teaches that Yahuwah measures value differently. Biblical values connected to covenant, obedience, sacrifice, stewardship, faithfulness, purpose. The Hebrew concept Arak helps reveal this. The meaning of Arak, Hebrew pronunciation Arak, Eric. Strongs, this is where it's telling you in the Strong. Y'all boys know about what Strongs are, right? Strong's definitions. So you always see your dad pull up words, like you'll see him pull up the scriptures, and then you'll see all them little letters up there next to the words, right? That's the Strong's number. So the Strong's is like your dictionary for your Bible, or your encyclopedia for your Bible. You know how dictionary works, right? You look up that word and it tell you what it means. So we don't speak fluent Hebrew or fluent Greek, right? But that's what your Bible is written in. So you're going to need a dictionary to break it down. So that's what this is. You'll go here and it'll give you the definition of this word for value, Arak. And the definition is value, worth, valuation, which means valuing something, assessment, order, purpose, assigned worth. So y'all understand how value works, right? If you was to so what could you buy that would be worth a value? A game, a car. Y'all know people that collect Jordans. Yeah. Now some of them Jordans is worth more than others, right? Because there's a value system they're working on. So you'll say, man, how much is them worth? You done heard them up to thousands of dollars. Have you ever heard of some shoes costing that much? It's people out there that got collections that, hey, look, this pair of Jordans worth $2,000. And if they hold on to it, the value might go up. Trading cards. So it's all kind of stuff that got value, right? The root idea, something arranged, measured, assessed, or given proper value. Oh, so in Leviticus 27. Leviticus 27. Let's go there right quick. Leviticus 27. And let me know if y'all can see this. And it reads, Leviticus 27:1, rules concerning valuation. So rules concerning how to value something. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Yasharal, saying, unto them, when a man shall make a singular vow, the person shall be for Yahuwah by thy estimation. And thy estimation shall be the male from 20 years old, even unto 60 years old. Even thy estimation shall be 50 shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary. So he's saying right here, off top, hey man, if you from 20 years old to 50 years old, this is what they worth for a man. So the man is valued at a certain way from a certain age up to a certain age. Verse 4, and if it be a female, then thy estimation shall be 30 shekels. And if it be from 5 years old, even unto 20 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 20 shekels, and for females 10 shekels.
You need to see how much some shekels are.
How much is them shekels worth? Yeah. Now, one thing we can see is, and this is not even to be funny, y'all, they valuing the men at more than the women.
Yeah.
They valuing the men at more than the women. Now, this is just script, so don't get on your old burn and say that he said something that he didn't. I'm just looking at the scripture, but there's a purpose for that. Let's jump back into the notes. It says, the singular vow, Leviticus 2, speak unto the children of Yasharal and say unto them, when a man make a singular vow, the person shall be for Yahuwah by estimation. Singular vow was voluntary. So these are some of the rules and regulations. It's a voluntary estimation, right? I think that's important because when you come to serve Yahuwah, did anybody put a gun in your head? Did anybody say, hey, brother, you better be here at this Shabbat at this time, and you better not go to work? And they say, I know where you stay.
Best for you to show up
and get this good gathering in. No, they saying, hey man, it's overtime on Saturday, man. Get that bread up, man. We'll love to have you come in. Time and a half. They saying, hey, look, to you, to us, our value for you is I'll pay you more money if you come in here and work on this Shabbat. Mm-hmm. So that's how your job, or that's how the world is valuing your time. I mean, you worth the time you usually do, and a half of that.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I worked at St. Vincent Hospital. And this was right I think I might just now been getting into the truth. I worked third shift. And, hey, you can be on third shift. Your weekend pay starts Friday night and Saturday. I'm like, why not Sunday? Sunday considered the weekend. Start looking around, start reading stuff along their wall. Friday and Saturday is they weekend pay. Sunday start the
new week.
So I'm like, dang. All right, so the Saturday considered the weekend, then there must be some type of correlation with the script on why you only get holiday or weekend pay at a certain time, Friday night, and in at a certain time Saturday. So we got to look at the correlations and connections.
That revelation of method again.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna tell you, but you gotta connect them dots. And it's the same way a lot of places I've been at, it's like they'll tell you Sunday starts the week. Yeah. So if 6 days a man shall work, I mean I can start working on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But it say on the 7th is the Shabbat. Hey man, that line up right with Saturday. So it makes sense. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pay you that little time and a half because that's what we value you at. But your voluntary vow is saying, hey, I choose to follow Yahuwah. So this is your vow. This is your sacrifice, right? Keep your time and a half. I'm gonna do what the commandments say. So it was special, it was intentional dedication unto Yahuwah. And I liken that to that's your walk. That is your walk. You is intentionally dedicating yourself unto Yahuwah by choice. Nobody forced you. A person could dedicate themselves, family members, servants, livestock, land, possessions, right, unto Yahuwah through a vow. What was the valuation for? The valuation system was not about spiritual superiority, one soul being more loved, one gender being more righteous. So we see that the women is valued at less than a man, right? But it's not about being more righteous. Instead, it reflects labor strength. So that's where it comes in at. The valuation comes in at a man labor and strength is going to support the family. You see what I'm saying? Because everything got to flow down from the head. So from the head, what I can provide, what I can pull in, my strength, my fortitude is going to trickle down to the family. Once labor strength, economic capacity, productivity, agricultural realities, practical sanctuary valuation. This was an ancient covenant society with farming. So this is what their lives consisted of. This is what was important. Farming, herding, manual labor, warfare responsibilities. The valutations reflected those realities. So like that's real life though, right? That's basic core nature. You got to farm because you need to eat, herding for agricultural purposes, and manual labor. You know, we work with our hands. They didn't have all this technology back then. Warfare responsibilities. They're about to enlist this draft right now because we under this Babylonian nation. Where you think they got that from? Where you think they got the draft from? They got the draft straight from the scriptures. The draft come from the scriptures. At what age? 20. And he said, if you fearful, take your butt home. You ain't getting us killed. But who wants to be a coward? If it was about fighting for the Yasharal, true Yasharal, I'll sign up for that. Yeah. But if they come to, anybody on my side, I advise you not to go to war for these people. Do the Muhammad Ali route.
You see, you look at any other nation, no matter where you want to go to the military or not, you signing up for the military. Or I'm sorry, you're not signing up. You automatically in the military.
Yup.
And at work we had this guy come show off some product or whatever. And his name was Julius, white man. Had a weird last name. I said, man, pronounce your last name. He said it. I don't remember it. But then he started talking. I'm like, boy, accent sounds familiar. Then somebody said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Israel. I'm from Jerusalem. I was like, okay. That K is on. So he was like, yeah. Everybody in the military like to talk their military talk. He's like, yeah, we have to go to the military. It ain't no ifs and buts about it. I think minimum you have to do 4 years.
Yep.
Have to do 4 years. So what you think about looking at Trump when he's trying to implement that draft change, the automatic draft change, at the end of this year, I think eventually it's going to be mandatory that you're going to do some type of time to fit in between them brackets, that age bracket, or just like I said, going to take that Muhammad Ali route and serve your 4 years in prison.
Is that felony up?
Yeah, I think it would be a felony. Let's look it up.
Because you can kind of see how everything's just pent against you.
Mm-hmm. Some I think it was Ukraine. They hurting from folks, so that, they doing that, and they dude refused to go. They off him right on the spot
Mm.
in broad daylight.
Mm. See? Because you know, like we didn't even ask to be here. That's the scary part about our plight. If I was a white blonde haired boy with these roots, I'd have to go sign up if I'm living off the delicacies of this country. Because see, that protects your interests. You know, for the average white family, right? Their interests are protected by the military. You know, that's why y'all going. We're going to fight for freedom. For freedom for what? For us to keep living this American lifestyle. You know, for Christmas to come every December and we get this Black Friday. You know, for us to still continue to go to these strip clubs and be down there on the red district down there and go to Vegas for your prostitution. You know, that's why these people are going to war to fight for. These are the freedoms they talking about. You know, but when we get to talking about freedom of speech, then they got to put a censorship cap on you. You know, because you speaking against their system, you speaking against what they uphold.
Yeah. What I'm seeing right now, refusing to go to the military or go to war, it's a federal crime. It's a federal felony, what they saying. And you can be punishable up to 5 years in prison, fines up to $250,000.
So, you know, that's a big decision to make.
Yeah, hey. You come in this world and dead anyway. Go ahead and send me in there.
Yeah, and that's the fear. So, hey, look, do you want to do? You could go over there. You could be signing up. You can go to war and die.
Yeah.
You go to prison and die. You go to war and die. You choose. But if you go fight for them, you just sold out. You really fighting for your enemy. Like, and I know that's kind of hard for a lot of folks to, you know, cope with. But that's what we saying. That's the struggle here. What is your value? You know, what's your value? What's the value of your life? Real question, though. What's the value of your life? Is it worth, you know, being able to come back and say, hey, look, I'm a vet and I did this and I got these credentials and now I could fit into this society system and elevate? Or is it worth saying, hey, look, I belong to Yahuwah, take my chances, following his commandments, and we're going to rock out like that, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. I always remember, too, that we in this world, but we're not others.
That's why I was just about to pull up.
You know what I'm saying? So, like the script say, we're going to be hated more than the Messiah for following what the Messiah was preaching. Our punishment is going to be worse than what the Messiah was.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to be 10 toes down in this walking in this faith. It ain't easy. It ain't gonna never be easy. But knowing that you serving the Most High, it's gonna be easy. You're gonna take your stripes, take your lashes, and get into the kingdom with your bumps and bruises. That's honorable to Yahuwah. So you got to continue to build your faith up, and the only way you're gonna build your faith up is by you connected to the Father every day.
That's it. Get your battery recharged
every day.
Every day. Pray without ceasing. And that man, look, I work with like a bunch of Muslims came out of nowhere or whatever. So now they over in the corner on their little towel doing their thing. Hey, look, I'm not knocking them, right? Good dedication. That's why I say, like,
they more dedicated than a lot of Israelites.
That's the part. But at the same time, because I'll be looking at myself like, well, dang, I didn't like, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I have. In the past, I had a lot more free time too, and I could dip out, and I would go in my own time and do my thing, you know. But just, you know, sometimes your role may change, or, you know, I'm in the fort, whatever, I'm busy, I'm working, you know what I'm saying? And but, you know, all the time on my mind is Yahuwah, and to me, really, you can do it could be like this, right? I could go and get down and kneel 3 times a day. You know, I encourage y'all to find that private time. What if you was at war though? Like not saying you enlisted, but what if like some war stuff really broke out and we at war all day? Do I got time to go lay down and Nah, but I need to be connecting with Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah, what I need to do? I need my GPS tapped in. See, the technology all technology is built off of the human body. So, you know, you thinking it's a GPS system that somebody created. They tapped into the human body and found out there's some kind of telekinesis, radioactivity connection you got radio connections. Just by you looking and seeing colors, you're seeing the color spectrum. So like everything that was created off the human body. So we got that capability. Yeah. I need my GPS system to be locked in with Yahuwah so he could direct me. That's how I look at praying without ceasing. Be connected to the Father all day. You know, a prayer don't have to be long, but when you hop in that car, you about to go across town. Hey, Abba, be with us. You know, keep my eyes peeled while I'm on this road. Don't let no harm come to me. Let me be aware while I'm on this road. This is serious business. We look at it as we just hopping in the car, take a trip around the corner. Y'all know most fatal accidents happen within a mile from home. So, you know, you got to really be just have Yahuwah on your mind, have the Ruach, be tapped into that Ruach 24/7. I just want to kind of bring some of this up what Aki was pointing to 1 John 2, and we'll jump down here about 14. Jump down here about 15. It says, and can y'all see that good? It say, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So does that mean don't love the dirt that you walk on? Don't love the tree? Don't love, like, nah, that's the earth. See how the world and the earth is two different things. The world is an order. The world is an order, right? So the world is the system. So he's saying, he said, love not the system. Don't love the school system. Do you love the school system, or are you just in the school system doing what you got to do? We just in the school system doing. Do I love the work system? I don't love the work. I got to go get this money, though. So I'm going to do what I got to do in righteousness. It says, love not the system or the world, neither the things that are in the system or in the world. Because in the system, in the world, like we said, man, they got strip clubs, they got prostitutes, you got drugs, you got killing, you got, you know, just this rap music, right? You got all this stuff. So don't love that. It says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So here I am saying, hey man, I love God. I'm a Christian, I'm even a Hebrew, right? I love God. I love the Most High. But, you know, I hate my wife, or I hate my children, or I hate. You know what I mean? If it's not hating wickedness, what you doing hating? I'm killing, I'm stealing, I'm lying, I'm prideful. How was you a child of light doing them things? It says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And say, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. So the world is going to pass, the system, the order. Shalom. Bow. The order. What's up, Aki? What's up? How you doing, man? We're talking about. What we talking about is knowing your value in the fold. Okay. So everybody coming in, we're talking about knowing your value in the fold, and we went over the Hebrew word for value, which is arek, ayin, resh, kaf, and it basically means like observing something to give it its value, right? I gotta look at something and I'm valuing it. Hey man, look at them shoes. What they call them, man. He got the Puma joints on that, man. That's a $250 fit. That chain, whatever.
Oh, boy, that boy clean.
Man, you hear me? So just off top though, you're gonna see something, you're gonna start valuing it, right? So what's your value in the fold? And over here in 1 John 2:15, it said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. And we talking about the world. What is the world? That's not the dirt, right? That's the earth is the dirt. The world is the order or the system. So he's saying, don't love the system or the things that are in the system. If any man love the system, the love of the Father is not in him. So you got to choose. It's saying verse 17, and the world passes away. The system gonna pass away, and the lust thereof. Everything that you was lusting for, you was lusting after them women in the system. Guess what? Everybody got an expiration date. She gonna pass away.
Things that people gotta do.
Everything else that's of material is gonna what? He said the moth and the rust is gonna consume it. It says, but he that doeth the will of Elohim abideth forever. And then it also saying another scripture too, right? He said, one generation passeth away, but the earth abideth forever. So that's how we know we can't be talking about the world is the earth, because the earth is the stage. He says it's gonna be a new heaven and a new earth. And that new heaven is the kingdom is gonna be here on the new earth. The earth is gonna abide forever. We already seen an example of that, like we said, with the flood, right? The earth is the same earth. It's just a new system working in the earth because the old system got flooded away. All right. So we got to look at the separation. We got to look at the separation. So the valuation by age. So and our script that we're coming out of Ak is Leviticus 27. That is that's the home script we're coming out of, the valuation. So the valuation by age and gender, ages 20 to 60 for the male, 50 shekels. For the female, 30 shekels. This reflects prime labor years, agricultural productivity, physical work expectations, not spiritual worth. So yeah, just because the woman is valued at lesser, that's still equivalent to the man. She's a weaker vessel, right? So like we gotta look at some things though, because like when we look, we gotta keep it real. Can I afford 3 wives? You know what I'm saying? Because if she got to go out there and put in just as much work as me, she shouldn't have to, because she's already valued as 30 shekels. She's valued at 30 shekels. I'm valued at 50. So I got that labor responsibility on me, the agricultural and productivity responsibility, that physical work responsibility on me. That's how Yahuwah valued it. Children even got a value estimation, ages 5 to 20. So we sit here and say, like, when does a child start really knowing? It look like at 5. When is a child not blameless no more? Look like at 5 from their value. Because why would they not be nope. We can't go off of that, because it's gonna go into months, up to 5 years. But look here, ages 5 to 20, male 20 shekels, female 10 shekels, children approaching working age but not yet full productivity. Right.
So they're not even productive until 20. Fully productive.
Fully productive, you can go to war. Once you turn 20, you can go to war. You're enlisted in the army. And if you're scared, or you just married, or it's all the rules that go with that. But off top, you're a man at 20. I think they say 18 here.
Yeah.
18 here. So
18 here, you can enlist.
and you can enlist at 18, but in the scriptures, 20. Small children, ages 1 month to 5 years, male 5 shekels, female 3 shekels, reflecting dependence and future potential. Then we get to elders.
So how do you determine? Because, okay, let's just say the mother and the father's in the household, right? Then would they be valued higher because their stability is different?
I think it's an individual value. Go to Leviticus.
You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but this is an ancient way of thinking. So, I mean, we can kind of imagine with the modern, but in the ancient, they was gonna be there. Yeah. They was gonna be there. Yeah, but even in the same kind of way you thinking, everything got a value. So, I mean, you would be a more valuable product of your environment if you had both parents that was operating correctly, right?
And then there's another value for, okay, you got both parents, but the dad makes $100 million a year. So then you're gonna have maids. Where you going? Then you got maids in the house. So now your school system is gonna be different because of
just naturally, you could see that physical value, right? Naturally, I could look at that and say, dang, well, he got that monetary value. You know what I mean? And remember this, and that's what they keep impressing, is that it's not, we can't equate that to spirituality, but
I'm talking about the resources.
But resource-wise, if you have 5 tutors and I have no tutors and I'm out in the field but I have 2 parents, are you gonna be valued more? You are. And we was just speaking about that at KLA, because if your education, this is what Elder said, let's say you was to pass away and you didn't have a master's, they say, hey, look, your life insurance will carry that 50 bands, but I had a master's, here go 300 bands. I'm just saying. Yeah, like that. Basically. What else is they value? They're gonna value on something, or it could be like you said. Hey, look, daddy got this business, this business, this business, this business. Hey, this is what you're gonna be valued at in your casket. This is what your value is gonna be for your will. So it's like, I didn't mean throw that off. I mean it all goes into it because we're talking about the value system, but just the flat bare minimum. Let me go back up here to show you this. What was your Leviticus? Leviticus 27 is going through it. If you look up here, let's see, we the children at 5, but if you look up here, this is what it was for. It was voluntary. You see, it was voluntary. It was special, intentional dedication unto Yahuwah. So it was something they chose to do. And what we're saying is, did anybody put a gun in your head and say, you better serve Yahuwah, you better be here on the Shabbat? So it's a voluntary thing. So when you come to serve Yahuwah, you volunteer that. And then what is our value after we volunteered that? And that's as far as we at right now. So small children 1 to 5 months, a male 5 shekels, a female 3 shekels. But just look at how the male is always more valuable than the female. You might hear people say, hey, you the man, you the prize. Like kind of that feel. And we ain't bashing on the women, right? We just looking at the numbers. So it's this headship is a responsibility, really, because that's a responsibility. Elders 60 plus, they start decreasing. After 60, it started decreasing. 15 shekels for a female. 15 shekels for a female, 10 shekels. This reflects reduced physical labor, capability, aging, and Argonian life. I think there's like aged life, right? You're decreasing. So like, I can't depend on the elder to do more than he should have to do, right?
You talked about that last week.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to depend on the elder to do more than he should have to do at that point. It says, yet the scriptures consistently honors elders through wisdom, counsel, leadership, understanding. So even though this person is physically declined, hey man, we still gonna honor you in these areas. Mercy in the valuation system, Leviticus 27:8. But if he be poorer than thy estimation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall value him. This is critical. Yahuwah's system includes mercy. The poor were not crushed financially. Valuation was adjusted. So, you know, even somebody having financial difficulties, you know, it's still a fair, it's Yahuwah always got a fair system. It's crazy how he works it in, because one thing I do think, you know, as assemblies, as Mishpachah, that we got to get together is finances. You know what I'm saying? I think we got to get these finances together, because there's no way I should sit up in an assembly for this many years and then still be in the same debt and still be in the same mental fog when it comes to like, I don't believe, this is what I don't believe. I don't believe you got to be no hobo Hebrew out here. A hobo Hebrew?
No.
Yeah, I don't think Abraham was out here bumming.
No, I think he had more than enough.
I think he had more. I don't think David was out here scraggly. Like, it was a sight to see when he put ashcloth and sackcloth and ashes on, because that's the king.
You look presentable. You know what I'm saying? You like, you tell your show ladies, man, wake up, do this, brush your teeth, wash up, do your hair. Brush your hair. Put on some clothes. Don't put on the clothes. Don't go outside. You about to go somewhere. You put shirt dirty, stained up with holes in it.
Don't care about your appearance.
Yeah, nah, we not working on y'all. We going out to fellowship with some folks. We got to look like we got some good home training.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, you can't like a hobo.
You got home training, but also caring about who
yeah, self-love.
Yeah.
How you represent yourself.
And then when we was looking at, was it last week, I was like, man, wash your clothes before you come to Yahuwah. You know, so they had certain rituals and stuff like that. And what they saying, because the church tell you come as you are. But really, Yahuwah saying, man, you better come correct.
No, what the scripture that you read was, it says, wash your clothes so that you, when you go to that sanctified place, so you clean before you get there.
You clean before you
get not only in physical, but
in the spiritual. In the spiritual. Yeah. And it's like, you know, when you are going, this is my biggest problem with people is, you know, all day, how many, because you don't spend a lot of time at home because everybody doing their thing, right? So you out there with strangers more than you are with your loved ones and your family. How is your attitude towards all these strangers all day? I guarantee you treat more, deal with more people positively than you do when you come home. You know, that's what I see most of the time.
Because your patience is already worn down by the time you get home.
It don't even be that. Well, it could be, but it don't even be that. It just be, well, I don't know this person, so I don't want this image to be on me that I was a rude person, right? I don't want my tip to get short when I come to this table. I don't want this person to give this business a bad name because I want more business.
And that ties in what you're saying too. That we value money because we put ourselves to be fake to these people that we don't know. And then when we get home, we talk to the kids. We don't talk to people like that out there like that.
Yeah, you know exactly. Well, you're gonna probably hear me. I gotta use self as an example. You know, get with your bloodline family.
No, you're not.
Talk about it. Get with your bloodline family. We value the time, right?
Yeah.
When has a script came out?
Not
like I ain't never been around. I'm just keeping. I ain't never been around my family and just heard them say, "Hey, Bible study. Hey, everybody, get your book. Hey, come on."
But then they'll be like, "I'm blessed," or they hit you with "I'm blessed," and they'll be like, "Okay, then the funeral come. Oh, let's pray for so and so." That's the only time you hear about it. That's the only time you really hear about it, right?
Yup. So
you made pork chop. Let's say the spiritual.
Stupid.
So we just gotta open your eyes and see the reality. You gotta see the reality that like you put your energy into what you care about. So strangers are more important than mama, daddy, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, because that's bloodline, right? So strangers are more valuable than that. Go home, talk to your wife any kind of way. Wife, go home, listen to boss man at work all day. Hey, I need you to do that, man, and I need to do about. You hear me? Hello, and then yes, sir, yes, boss.
Then mumble under your breath when you walk away.
Yeah, mumble under your breath when you walk away, but when you go home, hey babe, I thought you was gonna have dinner, or damn, why is this stuff not? You're gonna pop off at hubby. Gonna pop off at hubby, and even if it is a real conversation to be had, why'd you go about it like that? Because you don't respect, and that's not where your value lies. Your value lies to this stranger man at work that we don't know what his faith is or we do, and whatever. I know he ain't the same faith, but he's my boss. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Where's your value system lie at? What are you valued at?
You live in two different worlds then. How can you get to the spiritual heights that you're trying to get to if you live in two different worlds like that?
And it come and a lot of them instances is just right there in your face, man. We was talking about the Boys in the Hood movie. I mean, stop the car. You gotta have a stop the car moment at any point in the time of the day. Your boss come to you, hey, if you dress like this a little bit more, man, I could probably get you more hours, or I could get you at the, because when people come in at the desk, they like to see the, what I'm saying? So maybe I know, but maybe just tighten up. And then you get to think about it. Oh, okay, well, maybe I could, because it's for the job. But you got to say, hey, man, stop the car. Hey, if that's what it takes to work here, then first of all, I need to holler at HR, because why'd you come at me like that? Second of all, if win, lose, or draw, I got to do it. I ain't down for that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have a stop the car moment. I'm going to get out this mug right here. I'll walk home. Down here, let's see. It's a spiritual application. The principle becomes deeper spiritually. Not every person has the same strength. All right, so this part right here. Not everybody got the same strength, has the same role, has the same resources, contributes identically, yet every member matters within the fold. You want to speak on that? Every member matters in the fold.
Yeah, every member matters. Everybody gonna have their own niche for what they good at and what they can bring to the table for the body, right? So you got your protectors. Not everybody protected. You got your cooks. Everybody ain't no cook, right? You got your grillers. Myself. Everybody ain't no griller.
Yeah.
But the only way you're gonna find what your gift is if you connected to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not connected to the Most High, you're gonna spend your whole life trying to figure out what your gifts and talents is. And by the time you find it out, it's gonna be too late for you. It's time to close the casket. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to early to get to know who are early, so you can figure out what your gift is and how you can serve your nation and people when you come with your people when you fellowship. You know what I'm saying? So that's it on that.
I'm gonna hit this Luke 12.
Luke 12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that's what I want. No, that's not what I want. Hold on. Let me see right quick. It's in, I think it's in Mark, and it might be in Luke. Let me get it for y'all right quick.
Sir, you know what your gift is in this body of body of believers. This one body.
Nah, no. Well, if you was to take a gift.
I can probably tell you what your gift is, because you didn't say it plenty of times. Production. Yeah, production.
Like video production.
Video production. She said when we was at the beer fest, man, I gotta learn how to work these cameras in the software.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
and you know what?
That's your thing because you into technology.
Yup.
So that's suiting for you because you've been like that since you was a child. You still are a child when you were younger.
And if you pay attention, did who was it? Jacob that named all his children? Did Jacob ask his children, hey Levi, you're gonna be this. Hey Judah, do you wanna hey Zebulun, do you wanna like nah? He said, hey man, Yehuda, you was a lion's whelp. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna rise them up, man? The scepter's not gonna depart from you. You know, just like Arkia is like, man, you've been like this since you was little. These are your characteristics. So, you know, we gotta value and estimate our children. Hey son, you are you know what I'm saying, you're a photographer because you code with that camera, you're in the production, this is what you're gonna be. And usually what? You was following some type of footsteps of your father. You know what I mean? Arkia got the technology too, but you know, the younger ones, they're gonna come up and outdo us in the technology. But like, so you just gotta look at all that. Look at Mark 12 and we'll start at 41. Mark 12 and 41. And it reads, and Yahushua was sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury. Mark 12 and 41. Yup. See it? It say, and Yahushua was set over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury. And many that were rich cast much, because there ain't nothing to them. Well, here, you can have it, man. I put this load on you real quick. You know what I'm saying? It's good money. It say, and there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites. That's all she had, which make a farthing. All right. And he called unto him his disciples and saith unto them, verily I say unto you, that this poor widow has cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. Remember, they're making it rain on the treasury, throwing big money in there. She came and threw her 2 little pennies. It says, for all they did cast in is of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. She gave all that she had left. Which one is worth more? And he said her 2 mites is worth more than your 2,000 shekels. Your 2 mites is worth more than his 5,000 shekels. Because spiritually, so that's why we see here, spiritual application, the principle comes deeper spiritually. Not every person has the same strength, has the same role or resources, contributes identically, yet every member matters within the fold. Right? So that's why it is important to say, hey, look, well, where do I fit in? Because maybe I don't fit in as the big money machine, right? But I may be a brain behind the engine behind the brain. The fold. Scripture often compares Yahuwah's people to sheep within a fold. The fold represents protection, covenant identity, belonging, guidance, community, shepherding. It says every sheep has purpose. Some are leaders, helpers, teachers, servants, protectors, encouragers. Different functions do not remove value. 1 Corinthians 12. Let's hit it. 1 Corinthians 12. One, 4, 12. The use of spiritual gifts, right? Let's just jump at the top. It says, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. So I wouldn't have you walking around here not knowing what's going on with spiritual gifts, because somebody gonna ask that question, and you should be ready in season and out of season, right, to preach this word. It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. So was they Gentiles because of the flesh? No, not necessarily. He didn't even mention the flesh. He said, because you was carried away to these dumb idols. That's what made you a Gentile. Even as you were led, you was led astray. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Ruach of Elohim calleth Yahushua accursed, and that no man can say that Yahushua is master but by the Ruach HaKodesh. So you got to have that spirit on you to even understand what we're talking about. You got to be called. This ain't for everybody. That's the hard part for a lot of people to figure out too. Hey, why can't my wife get it? Why can't my son get it? Well, he ain't called. He might be called, but he ain't chosen.
The army stole from the script. Many are called, but few are chosen. That's
their slogan.
That's their slogan.
That's straight from the script.
Mm-hmm.
It said, now these are the diversities of gifts, but the same Ruach. Same Ruach, diversity of gifts. And there are differences of administrations, but the same master. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same Elohim which worketh in all. But the manifestation of the Ruach is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given the spirit of the word of wisdom. All right, so somebody got wisdom. They can just sit down. Some brothers you ever realize you can just sit down and have a conversation with, and you be like, dang, I got a lot off of that. Just chopping it up. And to other, the word of knowledge by the same Ruach. So some people got the knowledge. Hey, I know book, chapter, verse. Pull up at the address. Like a Steve type brother. Where the address at? Off the top of the head. To another, faith by the same Ruach. Hey man, I gotta say, I got some faith on. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff that, you know, to keep walking in that walk, some stuff you didn't been there, man. You working on a faith level. To another, the gift of healing by the same Ruach, right? To another, the working of miracles. To another, probably just different offices. To another, discerning of the spirits. That's a gift, to discern spirit, man. I came in presence of that person, man. You know, you'd be like, damn, why you ain't mess with that person? Then come to find out later something happened. I knew that first time I met him. How'd you know? You didn't even say a word. I could feel it. A discerning spirit. To another, diverse kinds of tongues. You can speak all the languages. To another, the interpretation of the tongues. You understand them languages. Now, somebody could say, oh, it's about the angelic language, but I want to propose this challenge. Some people do know how to speak real good languages, right? And then, like, I could kind of pick up on certain things in certain languages, right? Because a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff come from the same source. Most of this stuff come from Latin. So like Spanish, French, English is a real bastardized version, but like them languages though, you'll have certain words like I use this as an example. You know, in Spanish, Saturday is Sábado. So that sounds like Shabbat to me. You know, then when you do the linguistics, it come back down to the same same day. You know, you could say something like I was at work and these cats got into it and they were speaking French or Creole. He said, imbecile, and they got to bump up. And I said, I don't speak French, but I know when somebody calls somebody an imbecile. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all the same root language. So you can have somebody to interpret the interpretation of tongue. And I don't speak what he's saying, but man, they about to fight because he just called him stupid in his language. Well, how you know that, man? I just know that. I know what I know. And you sure enough went to the office, sat down, and they so polite when they be beefing. The Haitians a little different. They polite when they be. He said, "Do you want to box?" The other brother. Yes, he said, "Would you like to box?" The brother said, "Yes, I would." I said, "Man, hold on, man."
Hey, I was dying. Man, I worked this party about a month ago, and the venue wasn't a spot for them.
Yeah, okay.
Because I guess it was a popular Haitian DJ.
Okay.
So the spot was too small, so we were shutting it down. And the dude I was working with, pissing people off, and everybody there was Nigerian, Haitian, whatever other ethnicity over there.
Okay.
And the dude talked to me, he said, "Don't talk to me. You made me mad." It turned his back on. I said, "What? Are you mad?" He said, "You made me mad."
They not gonna get worked up about it, but I'm gonna tell you.
I said, "Man, that's funny."
Yeah.
He said, "You, I talk to."
I'm not mad at you.
Okay.
So you know, just to interpret the different tongues, right? He said, "But all these worketh that one and the self same spirit, ruach, dividing to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one, you got one body, and this is what the Muslims worship, because they say Allah. All Allah mean is arm, leg, arm, head. Think about that. All Allah stand for is arm, leg, arm, head. That's your Allah. It's a man. Right? We worship Yahuwah Elohim, right? The most high creator. All right. So in this body, it says, for as the body is one and hath many members, you got your arm, you got your leg, you got your other arm and your other leg, and you got your head, your neck, your chest, right? All these different parts of the body. For by one spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Yehudi or Gentile, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one ruach. For the body is not one member, but many. Check this out right here. This the part, though. It says, if the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If you a foot, why are you talking about hand things?
Well, we stand on business. You've been worried about picking up stuff.
You ain't on your job. You out of order.
That's how we fall. That's how we feel.
Yup. The foot was thinking about hand things.
Yeah.
You're not on your duty. And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye. See, everybody always looking over the fence. The grass always greener, ain't it? You don't know what type of issues this eyeball got, though. This eyeball, man, look. Boy. Man, in the ear, man, you know, sometimes you get a quiet moment. You know, sometimes you get a little quiet moment. You better be appreciative. The eyeball, only time he got, the rest is when you close them eyes. You know, but why are you worried about eyeball things and you the hand or you the ear? because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? So that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Just because you say you're not of the body, because you don't got this position, you know, how come I ain't no teacher? How come I ain't no, like you ain't no, you're not the teacher, you know, but you might be the praise and worshiper. So you might teach that. So you are a teacher in that sense. You see what I'm saying? It says, and if the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If you just one big old eyeball, everybody be an eyeball. You be an eyeball, you be an eyeball. How you gonna hear? If the whole were hearing, where would the smelling? Now you ain't got no nose function. So you need all these departments. But now that Elohim set the members, every one of them in the body as it had pleased him, and if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of thee. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor. So we ain't gonna look at the value of the monetary value of the woman and say, oh, she only 30 shekels, so we don't need her. Nah, man, let me make sure I protect that 30 shekels, because she probably have a little harder time keeping her shekels up. You know what I'm saying? Keeping her shekel duties up. So, hey, Akoti, I'll hold the door for you. Hey, Akoti, let me walk you out to your car. Hey, Akoti, you ain't got no covering over your head. You know, let me check up on. You know what I'm saying? I see your value. I see where you at. You doing your value thing. As a 50 shekel, maybe I should be able to check in on you. It says, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness, for our comely parts have no need, but Elohim hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacketh. It says that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all members rejoice with it. All right, I think I keep be speaking of that a lot of time. If I feel it, you should feel it. And what also happens is if you was to lose a sense, you know, your other senses kick up. So a lot of time, like somebody go deaf, their vision kick up. Now they can see a lot better, or they reflexes or whatever, or vice versa. They go blind, then they start hearing got another level. You be like, hey, how you walk across the street and knew that? Man, he could hear when that car was coming. Man, people out here driving with their feet. You know, your brain kicked up a notch. Now you're flexible, more flexible with your legs. You know, your brain working on a different thing. I knew I could use my feet like this. It says, now ye are the body of Mashiach and members in particular. And Elohim hath set some in the assembly for apostles. So now we get into offices and services. Secondarily, prophets. Thirdly, teachers. After that, miracles, the gifts of healing, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gift of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But covet earnestly the best gifts. So they said, man, you know, it's a sin to covet, right? But he's saying earnestly, you should want these gifts. And yet show I unto you a more excellent way. So he's saying, man, look, worry about the important things. Let me not look over here and say, man, how much money he be making, or how come he drive that car, or how come he got more kids than me, or how come it's always a competition.
And it sounds like because the buildup was all these other offices, and I think that what's happening is that we're not seeing the miracles because we're not all using our offices together. What miracle have you seen since you've been in the truth?
Man.
Waking up every day.
Yeah, but I'm talking about.
You mean like an open miracle of
Open miracle?
Open miracle.
Probably did something. Just probably can't think about the top.
But back then it would have been it would have been a big it would the talk of the town.
Right. But I'm saying, I'm asking you, have you seen a miracle?
Like I haven't seen like Aki said, I don't want to say I haven't, then most I'd be like, well, I showed you. But like I can't recall, but I could say like personally, I've had spiritual experiences that now I have some, I don't know if it's a miracle. I've seen some spiritual things, you know what I'm saying, that others have been there and witnessed. It was pretty wicked, actually. But so I know the spiritual realm is cracking. I know it's cracking in the spiritual realm.
It's cracking. I'm just saying that it has. I think that because Abraham and the ancient ones, they were more pure and they cared about each other on that level, and that's where the power comes from. And
and back then it's like that was it, right? Like we say, hey, look, man, get up, go. We're going into the agricultural field. We better go farm. We got to go deal with these. Like they live in they. But now it's like we in two systems. I think like somebody said earlier, it's like we in two systems. Because it's like you got clock out from being who I am all the way to go punch this clock or to go, sit at this desk. And then it's like you operating within these boundaries to a certain extent, and that just kind of dims you down.
Yeah, if I didn't have to work,
I could brew all day.
I wouldn't have to worry about AES. I wouldn't have to worry about.
I'll be brewing all day. When you go out in them, let's say you go Sukkot or you just go take your family into the wilderness, you got a certain level of like freedom that you. Then you be like, if I could operate in this piece of all this, you know how much more productive I'll be. You know how much more.
And that's only for 3 or 4 days. Really, so can you imagine like a month?
And you like that? I'm not worried about the J's. I'm not worried about the tuxedo or even like how we get caught up at the graduation, right? Like what if you was just dealing with your agriculture, dealing with your spirituality, dealing with your health, dealing with your, you ain't got no TV, no distractions, but you say, man, look, I ran the whole island yesterday. You'll come home, but hey, babe, I ran further than I did yesterday. Dang, for real, let's celebrate. You probably have a celebration. Daddy just ran the whole island. But now you be like, man, I walked. Oh, okay.
Your goals, and everything changed.
Everything changed. When you out there, everything changed. That stuff ain't even matter. Don't nobody care about who's pinging on their IG. Don't nobody care about they posts going viral. Don't know you out there.
And people really live like that. I didn't understand how deep it was. I don't really mess with TikTok yet. Last night I went on TikTok and I just watched. People are just really into maybe people doing some dishes and just doing stuff. Like people are really into this in life. I didn't know how deep it was. Have you ever been on TikTok, bro, and watched the live? People DJ. I did not know about that. It's a real thing.
Oh man, I was on there one day.
I know I've never been on there like that.
I was on there one day. I was just scrolling, and Ricky pulled up, and he was in there. Had 200 people up in. He was drawn. He an artist. Yeah, I said that's Ricky. We just start chopping it up on there.
They watching him draw.
He got a following. It's popping.
And people give money.
Hey, if I see my bruise online, I got cash you out. I got turn my Ak up, because that's what they do. I ain't about to let my Hebrew sit up here and it's a real thing. You can get monetized off this stuff. All these people sitting back, fat cat licking their lips off of this stuff. Real talk.
Man.
Romans 12:1. Romans 12:1. I know it's kind of like a sobering message, but that's what it is. Well, it should be. Nah, but because sometimes we get so deep, right? But where you get out of it? Sometimes we just a little too deep. That's what I think. I think being practical is more productive. Practicality is more productive.
Last week taught you that.
It
made me turn
it echoes it. This is just my philosophy. I always tell people I try to be more practical. Now I ain't saying that we can't get even with the deepness. It like okay, somebody can say, man, you breaking down them words. That's a little deep. It's really not that deep. It's how you looking at it. You can break it down practically, and that's the whole thing about the Hebraic thought. It's concrete. It's really practical. This Greek way of thinking, they just do a lot of extra. That's why they always in the debates. They always in the, you know what I'm saying? Because you can look at it like this, called abstract. You look at abstract art. I see a lollipop. I see a spaceship.
It's psychology.
It's like
psychology got you in a circle. Right? Nobody no answer.
Ain't no answer. It's
like
I really just threw paint on the wall.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a real piece of work art is I sat down, I looked at Aki's features, I proportioned it out. That's Jonathan's mural on the wall. That's literally his face in dimensions on. That's Jonathan. It's not abstract. That's him in the room. I see him on the wall. That's Hebrew.
Because I can see them.
I can see that's Hebrew thought. You know what I'm saying?
And there's no maybes.
There's no maybe that's Biggie Smalls. Nah, that's my eye. That's his face. So it's like this in Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, because we're talking about a singular vow, right? We're talking about a sacrifice. So we gotta be a living sacrifice. So if we all many members, we all are one body. Now we gotta be a living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable unto Elohim, which is your reasonable service. This is your reasonable. This is nothing even pat you on the back about. This is what you should be doing. You should be a living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable unto Elohim. If we just operated in that, man, we'll be good. We'll be good. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. Okay, so don't be conformed to this system. Remember, we're talking about the world is system or order. Let's see if we can pull it up. It probably say like cosmos or something like that. World, it say Ion, and it means forever, unbroken age, perpetuity of time, eternity, the worlds, the universe, period of time or age. Period of time or age. So you're not talking about the earth. That's what we really focusing on. It says where was we at? It say at verse 2, and be not conformed to this, and that word is ion, but it say age, this error, right? This particular part in time, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're going to need a renewing of your mind when you come over here, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. For I say through grace, it says, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. Yeah.
No, it said going dead. I'm like, my stuff plugged up. I forgot he on stream.
But to think soberly, according as Elohim hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we, being many, are one body in Mashiach, and every one member one of another. All right. So we could leave off right there. And then it just goes over the recap of that. Leviticus dealt with sanctuary valuation. So start off in the physical, right? Dedicated persons, bowed offerings. Romans expands this spiritually. Now the believer becomes the offering. So that's the main point I think we really got to press, is that what the Old Testament did, he said it was a schoolmaster, right? A school teacher. So basically, the Old Testament is going to start off showing you everything physical. Does that mean it's only physical? Nah, but I'm going to show you that. Because like when you teach children, you usually show them one thing at a time. You know what I mean? Then they come back and ask a question. Well, how come I got to learn to write it in cursive? Oh, man, because, you're going to see some older documents, man, and you won't know what's going on if you don't know how to. But, well, how come y'all didn't teach? Well, I taught you the regular ABCs first because that's what you're going to deal with on the regular. But now we need to go back, teach you cursive because it's a dying art. You get bamboozled. You could get bamboozled or whatever. It'd be better to know, right? So that's how I kind of work in the Old Testament. Old Testament is like it's going to show you physically, just straight up. Let's say you was on a football field and coach is like, hey, you run this play. You're going to always cut in and cut out to your left. You're going to always, hey, coach, why do I always got to do it? Because that's what the receiver do. Right. Because when you cut in, it's going to throw your opponent off. You're going to cut. Now you're getting a little bit more sauce, but you didn't know it. Now you can understand it a little more, but you needed to put it in application first. Like first, I'm just about to tell you what to do. Just do that. It's Romans expands on spiritual, the offering, the dedication, the sacrifice. Value becomes connected to obedience, holiness or set apartness, service, covenant faithfulness. Yeah, we got to hit this. 1 Peter 2:9. 1 Peter 2:9. And then we almost done. It say this. Let's jump up here at verse 4. It say, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Elohim and precious. Ye also as living stones are built up a spiritual house and set apart priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMashiach. So wait a minute. Ye also as lively stones. Remember, you're supposed to be a living sacrifice. So in the eyes of the Most High, you're like a stone, just like them jewels that Aki got on over there. All that gold all on my neck. Right. Ye are also as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, a set apart priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua. Wherefore also it is contained in the scriptures, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect precious, and he that believed on him shall not be confounded. Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, so if you believe the Mashiach is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. So the first shall be last and the last shall be first type stuff. And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. So like, you can't just look at somebody's movement and think that just because they got a movement, 1 million followers, we just witness that, right? But you can see time and time again, this person may have started off like we know of basically like kind of Hebrew celebrities, you could kind of call it.
What's that Hebrew that was in? What's his name? He got caught with the white boys.
Yeah, we was speaking about that a little bit earlier. Like, yeah, and that's what you get caught up right in celebrityism, and it's like, see that's not what it's about. It's about integrity. You see what I'm saying? So don't get caught up on the appearance. That's why that's why the foot needed mind foot business. You know what I mean? Foot mind foot business. Hey man, I didn't even know the arm had to get amputated. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that arm was sick because I'm a foot.
Still the concept study to be quiet.
Yup. And then it says, and a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even unto them which stumble at the word, right? Because the celebrities that we didn't came across or follow, have faith in, health teachings, and now this physical health teaching has become your God, become your Elohim, and now you don't believe in the Mashiach no more. This is what he says about you. He says, unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and the stone of stumbling. So for those who stray away from the Mashiach, that's your stumbling block, and a rock of offense. The Mashiach going to be a stumbling block for a lot of people making it into the kingdom because they are not reverencing him. They done thrown out half of the Bible. They don't believe Paul, don't believe the book of Esther, I don't believe the New Testament. I believe that David is going to come back and reign and sit on the throne. He's going to be reincarnated. David's going to be, this is the teaching. They call it regenerated. Am I making this stuff up, Bob?
No, I never heard of it.
And see, sometimes that's why it'd be just good to just sit where you at, because you never heard of it. For real, a lot of people try to move around, man. Hey, man, try to meet with him. Man, look, I'll probably be where I'm at, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it. Just start over. Just start over. Because I'm telling you, man, you're gonna bump into this stuff. You're gonna bump into this stuff and then be like, oh, you really don't believe. You see what I'm saying? So you getting something out of this that's not, it's something else. You getting something else out of this than what I thought the intention was. It says at verse 9, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal. So we talk about value, y'all. This is 1 Peter 2:9. All right. After this, then you tell me what your value should be. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a set apart nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So when you giving your praises up, so if you on the football field or you on the wrestling field, on the wrestling thing, and then you succeeding, hey, look, in that interview, hey man, all praises to the Most High. I just want to let y'all, that's all it takes. They're going, huh? What'd he say? Hey man, all praises to the Most High, man. You know, it's only because of him that I was able to flip that boy and put him on his neck. You know, or just because that is you shining like a diamond. Because he said, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, set apart nation, a peculiar people, that ye should, and when they say peculiar, they make it seem like you're weird, but it's really like more value. You're like a jewel, you're different. It's a precious stone. It say that ye should show forth the praises of him who, are we giving praises? Are we giving them praises? That's why somebody say, your son is a very well-respected young man. He's the best one in the, all praises to the Most High. Get your shine on right quick. That's like, huh? What'd you say? I said, oh, all praises to the Most High. Now, if that opened up a question, guess what? Now I can minister. Because who's the Most High? Somebody might not know. But I'm looking at that. It said, your praises. it says, verse 10, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of Elohim, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. All right, and we'll leave it at that on that part. Let me see what this next, we'll just read this. Deuteronomy connection, Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an holy people unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. Israel is described as holy, chosen, peculiar, separated unto Yahuwah. Value is connected to covenant identity. And then I think we went over the widow's mite, but right back to the widow, right? She cast her 2 mites in there, last 2 pennies. It's a Yahushua watched wealthy people give large sums into the treasury. Then a poor widow gave 2 mites, almost nothing monetarily. Yet Yahushua said she gave more than all of them. Why? Because Yahuwah measures sacrifice, sincerity, obedience, faithfulness, trust, not merely quantity. The reversal of Babylon's system. Wealth equals value. Popularity equals value. Influence equals value. Appearance equals value. Scripture says obedience equals value. Sacrifice equals value. Covenant loyalty equals value. Faithfulness equals value. The widow possessed little worldly worth, immense kingdom value. The connection in Leviticus 27. Yahuwah sees circumstance. Yahuwah measures the heart. Yahuwah considers ability. The widow's mite becomes the spiritual fulfillment of that principle. So, like, you know, what I see in the movement a lot of times is just harsh, hard, rolling fist down, driving these my way or the highway. This is what it is. All this doctrine. But like, what I notice about Yahuwah is he sees circumstances. Because he said, man, if you poor, man, hey, your estimation is this. He got all kind of instances in the scriptures. If your brother is poor, if this sister is poor, if you can't afford this, like, look, turtle doves. That's a poor man's sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? Just ending it off. Something happened. Ending it off though. Basically knowing your value in the fold, because many people in Babylon think money is value, popularity, but scripture shows, let me see. I don't know what happened, kicked us. But basically it's the reversal, y'all. You know, and that's pretty much what we see. That's pretty much what we see with the scripts. Is we started in Babylon, and the Revelations end talking about what's gonna happen to Babylon, but it's gonna be a reversal, and that's what we got to do before we leave this earth. We got to reverse the curse on ourselves. So how do you do that? Submit. What else can you do? You got to submit to the Most High, and that means be obedient. Love your brother. Repent, which means turn around from what you were, the way you was thinking. You got to turn around. You got to turn around, go the other way. About face.
Build your relationship with the Most High. Nobody can do it for you.
Mm-hmm. And even us, we got the mics, the cams and stuff, but we still got to work on ourselves every day. Like I keep saying, man, every day you got to get the recharge in with Yahuwah, you know, check in, get you a group of good brothers that you know you can depend on. And y'all got to tap in. Y'all got to stay locked in and help one another. You know, help one another. Y'all blood brothers, help one another. Y'all spiritual brothers, you know, help one another. And don't take the title Ak in vain. You know, your Ak is your strong defense. That's what I always want to remind y'all of. The Ak, the Aleph, and the Het in the Hebrew, Ak. That's how we get that word. The Aleph meaning strong bull. the head being the fence, I got a strong defense if I got an Ak, and if I'm somebody's Ak, I gotta be that strong defense. So with that, man, unless y'all got something else, you know, I think that kind of sums it up, man. All praises to the Most High. Todah Rabbah for y'all tuning in with us, man. We say enjoy the rest of y'all Shabbat. Y'all children, y'all got anything y'all want to tell the people? Shalom. Believe in Yah, Caleb said, believe in Yah. And that's coming from, how old is you? Coming from 12. How old was Mashiach when he was out there doing his thing? Yes, sir. So all praises to the Most High, man. Y'all believe in Yah. Peace be unto you and your household, man. And until next time, we say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.